Good morning. Today we look at Proverbs 16, 17, and 18. Verse 1, Proverbs, I'm stuck on Psalms for whatever reason. The first verse of Proverbs 16 is, "The plan of the mind belongs to mortals, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." And verse 9 of the same chapter, "The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps." So, our minds think and plan, and hopefully, the Lord looks at and directs us, and our decisions are directed somewhat by our faith and trust in God that way. Verse 2, go back that way. "All one's ways may be pure in one's own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit." We think we're right. I mean, we hate to be wrong. I mean, it's hard to say I was wrong, or to admit that, that someone else may have a better idea. And, having a better idea, a better plan. I mean, I know a lot of people. I remember instances where, this person had everything all planned out and thought this is the way it's got to be. And then there's a new plan that is definitely better. But, it's really hard to accept that. And so, all one's ways may be pure in one's own eyes. But it's a reminder that, we're not always right. And that's a hard thing to admit, and I fall into that a lot. And that's just, I think it's the way we are. We're not able to judge our own motives properly that way. We get something in our mind, and that's the way it is. Verse 18 is a psalm we kind of join a little bit here, but, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. And we often say pride goes before a fall, which is, basically what they're saying in two different ways here. But and that's a part too of that I'm always right attitude. And, it's a tough one. Verse 30, "One who winks the eye plans evil things, and one who compresses his lips brings evil to pass." And how often have you said something or seen or heard someone say something and then they wink, and you wonder, oh, okay, so something's going on here. Well, if you go back to chapter 16, chapter 6 rather. We're in chapter 16 and 17 now. But chapter 6, verses 12 through 15, I'm just going to read these to you, thinking about that, a wink of an eye. "A scoundrel and a villain goes around with crooked speech, winking the eyes, shuffling the feet, pointing the fingers, with perverted mind devising evil, continually sowing discord. And on such a one calamity will suddenly descend, and in a moment damage beyond repair." So, it's just, one who winks the eye. And it's, you cross your fingers, behind your back as you're, it's just some things, and I know that sometimes when I teasing my grandkids or something, I'll say something and then you wink and they, oh, Grandpa's maybe not being quite right here, They understand that. Verse 31, "Gray hair is a crown of glory. It's gained in a righteous life." Well, gray hair is a sign of growing old often, but there are people that grow prematurely gray, in their 20s and different things that way. But, it's just the way it reads that way. Chapter 17, verse 6, "Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of the children is their parents." The version that I read earlier this morning is children's children, which, that's grandchildren, and so this version I've got here in my shop, uses that word grandchildren. But we look at our grandchildren, and they are, it says they're the crown of the aged, they're the glory, they bring joy to us, and, we have, it's, I don't know, just, having your grandkids come around and seeing your kids and your grandkids doing well is, it's a joy, that's for sure. Verse 9, one who forgives an affront fosters friendship, but one who dwells on disputes alienates a friend. Holding a grudge. One who forgives this is the way to do it. You need to forgive so that you can move on within this friendship. If you hold a grudge, which, there's a second part, one who dwells on disputes alienates a friend. And I just, think about, somebody posted on Facebook, don't let your thoughts of someone you don't know, political party, destroy your friendship with those around you. And it happens every election, that people get on this warpath, it seems like. And, it's the ideologies and everything that goes on. It can drive a wedge between people and between communities, and it shouldn't be that way. That so to be careful in that. Verse 10: a rebuke strikes deeper into a discerning person than 100 blows to a fool. To have someone correct you, if you're wise and thinking, can make a difference. And rather than just to let you go on with whatever, a rebuke means more to a discerning person, as someone who calls you out on something you're doing incorrectly or whatever. Verse 15, one who justifies the wicked and condemns the righteous are both an abomination to the Lord. And so that's, kind of like that, a wrong is a wrong, no matter if everybody's doing it or not. And a right is right, whether no one is doing it, and it's so that, to justify the wicked, to excuse someone's, evil ways and stuff. That's not the way it should be, or to condemn the righteous. This is, and again, we see that in our world, and we know that world would be a better place if it was different than that. Verse 22, a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a downcast spirit dries up the bones. And as I was looking through some old files on a computer yesterday, looking for some things, I found this, are you happy? And, so there's this sheet of paper you could print out, and on the top it says, are you happy? And then you come down and, no. Do you want to change? Well, yes. So then, and are you happy? If it's yes, well, keep doing what you're doing. And, so it goes down to the same that, are you happy? Yes, keep doing what you're doing. Are you happy? No. Do you want to change? Yes. Well, then you change. No, you keep doing what you're doing. And it maybe doesn't translate real well into speech that way, but if we have a positive outlook on life is basically what it's saying. And that's here. A cheerful heart is good medicine. Having a positive outlook on life and being able to, focus on the good and on the future and on hope rather than, poor me. You're getting down in that, the downcast spirit is what's talked about there. Verse 26, to impose a fine on the innocent is not right. And we know that. That just makes sense. Verse 8 of chapter 18, the words of the whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down in the inner parts, false accusations, gossip, the words of a whisperer. And then verse 10 is the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The name of God, having faith and putting our trust in God, is this strong tower of which we can, always count on and always rely on. Verse 13 is another one. If you give an answer before hearing, it is folly and shame. We need to hear the whole story. And in addition to that, hearing the whole story, you need to look at verse 17 here. The one who first states a case seems right, until the other is cross-examined. And we're all guilty of that. We hear one side of the story, and it's easy to have sympathy for that, and but then when we find out the other side of the story, then we got to find the balance in there. So it's to know both sides of the story. The last verse of chapter 18, some friends play at friendship, but a true friend sticks closer than one's nearest kin. And we all have those friends that play at friendship, and then we have those that are true friends. And we all know which ones are better to have around, the true friends. And to be a true friend is a blessing for the other, and to have a true friend is a blessing for ourselves.